these children. They were forced to live with diseases in these institutions that were built not for the numbers of children that were housed in them. There were far too many kids in these institutions. And you see these happy pictures of kids in all these beds in their dormitory. A summer camp, maybe 2 weeks of summer camp, living with all these kids together, that might be a fun time. But day after day after day after day for 10 years of your life, the ventilation systems were horrible. They weren't planned properly. The engineering for these schools was so poor, exhaust from the furnaces would seep through the building. And that would affect their lungs. Tuberculosis and smallpox were rampant. Dr. Peter Bryce, there's a picture of him over there on one of the posters. In 1907, he disclosed the fact to the government that the death rate was so high. Duncan Campbell Scott was the Indian Affairs agent at the time in the early 1900s. He just kept dismissing Peter Bryce's findings to the point of removing him from his office of coroner, or not coroner, he was the chief medical officer of Canada. They removed him to shut him up. He finally wrote his papers for the public in, I think it was 1922, and he called his paper a national crime. The only picture I've ever been able to find of Peter Bryce is this one here. It's from the Fallen Feathers website, a documentary that came out a few years ago before the apology. What he says here, the story of a national crime by Dr. Peter Bryce, an appeal for justice to the Indians of Canada, the wards of the nation, our allies in the Revolutionary War, our brothers in arms in the Great War. He had a respect for Native people, and he tried to show that, and Duncan Campbell Scott shut him down. This information was out there so long ago, but it was hidden. It was made front page news in Ottawa, but then it was hidden. You never saw it again. So people today say, people died in those places? That's unbelievable. How come nobody told us? And for many years, we didn't even realize, many people didn't even realize there was such thing as residential school. I didn't even know myself until the last 10 years. I grew up knowing that I had Mohawk blood in me. Turns out on the matrilineal side, it's barefoot Onondaga. And it's time for me to claim that nationhood. I've lived the first 40-odd years of my life with the British side. It's time now for me to continue on the red road that I should have started from the very beginning, that was kept from my family for generations. A lot of this I only found out in the last couple of years, again because of the work that Kevin Annett has been researching on. Our paths crossed in our research. And when I found out he was coming across Canada to show his film, I jumped on board and I emailed him and let him know about my story.
This is Kevin Annett with the Friends and Relatives of the Disappeared, and I want you to listen to Word of Mouth Wednesday.